Hello, everyone, and welcome to a test episode of the FPL Wire. This is primarily a Lateriser 12. As you know me, I'm just attempting to see how it is to go solo because I want to do this a little more during the season. You see Zofar's thumbnail out there is just empty, but I'm going to freestyle for about 15-20 minutes, just figure out the works of how it is to go solo, and we'll take it from there. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about maybe my draft, etc. as well. So I'm going to put that on. I realized I put the video on out here, but I'm just going to be talking about my draft, etc. and see how you guys feel. While I do that, I realize I need to have the comments on as well. So I'm just going to have that on YouTube. I'm just going to have my YouTube on my phone as well, so that I'm aware of the comments and I can interact with you guys as well. This is the first time I'm doing this. I'm probably going to delete it as soon as I'm done. But, you don't learn if you practice. So let's go for it. I just wanted to absolutely freestyle some FPL. So let's see how it goes. Nice. I see there's about 88 to 100 of you in the chat as well. We'll probably do a Q&A later as well. Let's see how it goes. And I can see you guys as well. I can see your questions. I'll probably have that in front of me here. Right. I'm going to take you through my draft, etc. as well, see what you guys think about it. But this is where I am, as you guys can see on the screen. And I've been wanting to go with a premium pretty much since day one, just because of this little thing that you see here when it comes to the Spurs fixtures. I've spoken about it tons of times. But you have Southampton at home, Chelsea away, Wolves at home, and Forest away. That's just a really, really, really good start to the season for a team like Spurs, who've just looked amazing ever since Conte got there. And they're playing Kulu in the front three as well. Perisic played a little bit of a cameo. I saw the extended highlights today. He played a little bit of a cameo and it looked really, really good. So I'm hoping he does well for us as well. I think he could find his way into my Game Week 1 team as well. I might actually tinker a little today and see how things are. But yeah, first of all, I'll take you guys through my draft. It's an attempt at a premium draft. But what I've noticed is because of a few enablers that are emerging early in the season, this looks quite nice to me. Just wanted to make sure it's audio and everything okay. If you guys are seeing that audio and everything is okay in the chat, please just give me an okay so that I know things are fine. Let me look if I can see. Nice. There are enough people here. Let's see how this is going. Awesome. I can see the chat as well. Okay. Is the audio fine, guys? Just somebody say audio okay so that I'll move on from here. That's all. I don't intend on spending more than 20 minutes on here, but just trying things out, and why not? Okay, I'm going to assume because nobody's really commented that audio is not fine, so I'm just going to go ahead with everybody said, okay, so this is my draft at the moment. Now, I've always maintained since day one that for the premium draft to work, what we really, really need is some strong enablers coming in. And I feel like in Gabriel Martinelli, yes, there's a little bit of a doubt when it comes to Martinelli because of the threat from Eddie Nketiah and whether they play with two up front or whether they play with the 4-2-3-1, which is looking like their formation up front and which is looking like what they'll go with early on. So, and I spoke to a few Arsenal fans that I trust. Shout out to Nighthawk Karan and Understanding Football. Both of them are really, really good Arsenal fans, and they recommend that he's good to go at 6 million early season. He looks like he's at the age where he could have a proper breakthrough season. So he looks like an option that could be in there that enables sort of a premium draft. Leon Bailey, I saw the extended highlights of the United Villa game as well. Bailey absolutely changed the game when he came on, and I'm pretty convinced that he's going to be starting in that team for Aston Villa as well. I'll be obviously taking assurances from Mr. Freeman and Adam Hopcroft before I confirm that, but this is where the draft is. So, that's enabler 2 that has looked really, really good so far. And the third enabler is Tony Marshall. Now, you guys know about my love for Anthony Marshall. The more and more it is delayed in terms of the fact that Ronaldo is coming into the United setup, I'm convinced, actually, even if he's coming into the United setup now, I'm convinced that he's going to be starting with a front three of Rashford, Sancho, Martial. I don't see a world in which that isn't the case. And, since there's no Zofar on here or Bakar on here, it's an opportunity for me to talk about United. Now, what's happened with United is that Bruno, we're playing in okay, I'll show you what our setup looks like actually. Because the Muppeteers account did a really nice tweet in terms of what our setup looks like. So I'm just going to take you through that. This is exactly what our United setup is going to look like. Sancho is going to be playing on that right wing. Dalot is nailed on as first choice on that right wing. These two guys are going to be starting the team on the right wing. Martial looks like he's going to be playing as first choice striker as well. Rashford is going to be looking like he's going to be being on the left as first choice. I have a feeling that Shaw's going to be starting the season first choice, but in some time Malaysia is going to overtake him because he just looks a lot more dynamic. But this is a little bit of a dilemma position. Fred is, until the time Frankie de Jong does come into our setup, because right now it looks like Ten Hag's plan is FDJ or no one. If we do dip into the market for a number 6, which is Fred's position, we'll be going really, really late, because he's very, very happy to be patient, to wait for a player of FTJ's caliber, where he said that you require a very special skill set to play in this position. And seeing United in preseason, I've realized what he means by that. And I can totally see why Frankie de Jong would be such a good fit in this setup. So let's see what happens here. Bruno is going to be playing in that midfield as an 8. And what has happened is our setup is actually this. It's actually a 2-3-5 in position. This is what our setup looks like. And the second midfielder is actually quite advanced. And neither McTominay nor Van de Beek have done really, really well in this setup. So I am convinced that Eriksen is going to be starting in this position very, very soon, especially against opposition which aren't the top 6. I think he'll be comfortable playing Eriksen in that position, and then when you have these two supplying chances to all three of them, we're going to see good football. Now, let's talk about Sancho and Rashford a little. Both of them, when it comes to positioning and the volume of chances that they're getting for Manchester United, both of them have looked equally good in terms of the volume. Both of them are making good runs on the counter. In possession also, both of them are making as many infield runs. What's happened is, I think Sancho and Dalot on the right hand side have a more natural understanding. And if you're assuming the volume for both is the same, Sancho at the moment looks like he's sharper. Sancho looks like the player who's got more quality. So Sancho does look like a better option than Rashford. But then I was talking to Bullet about this, and the question is, there's no doubt in our head that Sancho is the better option than Rashford, but is he 1 million better? That's the question, because both of them will get the chances. It's about who takes them and whether that 1 million is going to save you cash or not. As things stand, there's no doubt in my head that Tony Martial is our best FPL option. He just looks really, really sharp. It's been a while since I've seen him look really sharp, and it's just not that he's capable of controlling the ball, etc. When it comes to close control, his understanding with Bruno and Rashford has been there for years, and you can see that coming through. He looks really, really aggressive as well, whether it's in the press or whether he's holding up the ball or whether he's making runs driving in field. He just looks really aggressive, sharp. A lot of his one-touch passing has been really good. So Martial's in my team, as you guys can see, and he's the third enabler that I've spoken about. I'm convinced that he's going to be a good option to start the season. So these three enablers are something that makes me quite optimistic to go with Salah, Haaland and Kane. Now, Kane versus Son is a big debate, because every time I'm watching extended highlights for Spurs, Kane looks like the forward in that Spurs team. He's playing furthest forward. Every time they have a counter as well, and they do tend to play very direct with their football, etc. as well. Son makes it closer into the box faster than Kane. Now, this will work in games where they don't have that much possession, etc. as well, and they're looking to make their way into the opposition box very, very, very quickly. But the thing with Kane, though, and I was talking to Baker about this just before I came on, he looks absolutely on it. All the finishes, the shooting that he's done, he looks a lot leaner as well. Just looks like really, really, he's really, really on it. So it's a decision to make. I don't think you can go wrong either way. But if I'm looking at this from a short sprint perspective, and also that 0.5 million, if you're looking at a premium draft, just comes in really, really handy. So that's where I am. Haaland and Salah are not going anywhere, and a lot of people have spoken about Haaland's fitness issues, etc. as well. But even a half-fit Haaland in the extended highlights today, he looked great. He looked like a beast. And I feel like he's going to start the season. I mentioned on the previous forward pod as well, it will take a lot for me to not go with Erling Haaland. So yeah, Let's see what happens there. In defense, Trent is not going anywhere. Cancelo is not going anywhere. 4.5. I'm looking at Raya now actually more because I quite like their Ben Mee purchase as well. But I don't think I'll be able to afford to spend more than 4.5 in this position. If I do spend more than 4.5, Mendy is the one that I'm looking at. And I have Walker and Dean. If Walker looks like he's going to be the starting CB, these two positions are not confirmed at all, but I know that in my head I can go for 4.25 million defenders, or I can go for a 5.5, which is likely going to be Perisic if he looks like he's going to be starting the season, because he had a small cameo in that game, in the last preseason game, and he looked really, really threatening. So I don't mind upgrading Walker to a... Do I have cash in the bank? Let's go to the transfers page and see. I don't have cash in the bank, so I can upgrade Walker to a 5.5, and then I can go a 4.5 defender if Dalot looks like... The thing with Dalot and touching Dalot is he's looked really, really forward in our setup, but I feel like we're going to concede a ton of goals. So that's the problem with going for United defense, because I feel like unless Martinez turns out to be an absolute beast, because we're going to concede a lot of goals on the turn, we're committing a lot of men forward. So I'm not convinced about our defensive prospects. Dalot might get an assist or two, but I'm not convinced about our defensive prospects. But if a 4.5 defender emerges in my head, I feel like it could be Ait Nouri if you're just playing the fixtures, wing back in a Wolves team at 4.5 million, and then I can go for Perisic, which enables this. But these are the sort of permutations and combinations that are in my head at the moment. Now, if I'm talking about people that are on my watch list that I don't have at the moment, it's two Liverpool players at the moment. Robertson is somebody I really, really, really want in my team, but it's tough to figure out a way to get him. He's just underlooked as an asset. And, just because people like new shiny toys, they're constantly ignoring Robbo as a pick, and especially since Pras brought it up that he's looked like a better asset, it just subconsciously in my head I do see him closer to the far post, closer to the goal. He's shooting a lot more in this United team. So Robbo is somebody who I don't have, who I wish I really had. Another player that I don't have is Luis Diaz, and he's at 8 million. Really, really good pick. The only concern that I have with Luis Diaz, which has always been in my head, and I'm going to mention that in the midfielder pod that we do on either Tuesday or Wednesday, is that like Mane, he doesn't find himself close to goal very, very often. He's like always doing a cut in and shooting, but when the ball is on the right hand side, he doesn't come inside the center of the goal as often as he should. So that's something to monitor. But I think he's going to be nailed on that left hand side. You're going to get a nailed on Liverpool attacker playing week on week. Maybe he gets subbed off early for 8 million. That's just a very, very good deal, and I feel like I'm overthinking that, but it's difficult to accommodate everybody in your team, especially if you want to go 3 mim. The third player who I think, if I don't go with a 3 mim, who I might start with is Kulusevski. He's just looked absolutely on it. I think Richarlison coming in to the Spurs setup has sort of invigorated him. Not that he wasn't great last season, but it's just sort of made him think, okay, I need to fight for my position. And he looks like he's gone up a level compared to last season as well. He's a lot closer to goal. He's not playing that assist role that we did last season as well. When Kane has the ball, both Son on the left hand side and Kulusevski on the right hand side are making runs inward, and passes are going either to Son or Kane. So he's finding himself behind the last man on a few occasions. So I feel like if you're looking to start the season and if you don't have a Spurs attacker, Kulusevski in my head right now is the best 8 million attacker to start the season with. He's nailed on to start game week 1 as well. So we'll see what happens there. And obviously then there's Gabriel Jesus. He's too good a pick. And he's the one I'm incredibly sad about not owning and worried about not owning, because he's looking incredibly sharp. He's just looking so sharp. Everything's going through him. Everything's funneling through him. And Zofa's words are in my head all the time because he just looks like an extremely good pick. So these are the guys that are in and around my thoughts. And there's Jack Grealish, obviously. I forgot to mention Jack Grealish at 7 million. He looks like the City midfielder to own Game Week 1 in my opinion. But caveat being, we don't know what's happening with Foden quite yet, because Grealish has started all the games in the left in pre-season, but Phil Foden is training separately because he wasn't allowed entry in the US, so we don't know what's happening there. Let me just see, my chat has froze. I want to see if everything is going okay. So I'm just going to make sure. Wow, there's 322 of you guys in here watching me. In a bit, I'm just going to go through the page, which is the questions page, but let me just put on the live chat. So yeah, Grealish is in my thoughts as well because there's been a real understanding between Grealish and Haaland in that 40-minute cameo that I had, and always had it in my head that Grealish is great at taking a couple of defenders away, etc. And I think he'll play a lot better with a natural number 9 in that team. So Grealish is in my thoughts. KDB is somebody who I think is a great pick, but is somebody we aren't going to pick because I feel like we are not going to. Pep is not going to play him in a more withdrawn role. I think KDB is going to continue from where he left off from last season. He's going to be playing in a free role. He's going to be playing a lot closer to goal. So if you have the Kajons to go against a Salah and a Haaland and a Son or a Kane, KDB is a great differential option because I think he's going to start the season very strongly. He was an absolute beast in the second half of last season where he actually had fitness issues early season, and then that's why he didn't start the season well, and whatever he did was in the second half of the season, and he was their best FPL pick. He was in top 4 point scorers in FPL also in the second half of the season, and that's where he's left off from in pre-season as well. He looks really sharp. Pep's spoken about how good he looks, how sharp he looks in pre-season as well. So KDB is a good pick. These are the guys I'm thinking about. Obviously, lots will change before the Game Week 1 deadline happens, and I'm going to watch the Community Shield and the Spurs pre-season game right after that because I think Spurs, City, and Liverpool are important teams to watch. I mean, Darwin could again put his hand up in that game. I mentioned on the forward spot that he's become a meme, but his conversion rate is really good, and he's deceptively quick as a player. So he's not a meme; he's a really good player, and I think he's going to do well. At the moment, no Chelsea players in my team, and Thomas Tuchel's post-match conference this morning was quite worrying. Arsenal beat Chelsea in 4-0 in a preseason game, and it's not about the results, but he was talking about the commitment to the cause. Tuchel was talking about how half the players have their eye on going out, and it just doesn't sound like a very happy, committed dressing room at the moment. So I'm okay to take that gamble against a Chelsea defender at the moment. That's where I am. I wanted to make this a very quick video. If you guys have some questions, I'm happy to take them on early season. Just my thoughts and where I am with my draft and the players that I'm thinking about at the moment. Let me quickly adjust my camera as well, because I feel like I'm cut a little. Okay, you guys are going to be seeing the screen, but I'm looking at the Q&A right now, so hit me with your questions. I will do a Q&A for about, I think we are 18 minutes, so I'll do a Q&A for about 5 minutes, and that's it. It's a test draft. First debut test draft stream is done. Waiting for your questions. This is my draft, waiting for your questions. What's my opinion on Sterling? Eero is asking that. I think Sterling is going to be a really good asset. I'm just waiting to see how quick Chelsea's problems are solved when it comes to recruitment as well. And once that is done, I think Sterling is... Because I think Kai Havertz is the kind of player that makes other players around him a good option. And I feel like Sterling or Bruno, not Bruno as much because he's playing a withdrawn role, Sterling is going to be a top option this season. I think he's going to be a great option. If you feel like Chelsea are going to solve their problems once Game Week 1 comes, I have no problems with you punting on him. Hussein is asking Bailey versus Neto. I trust more. Neto looks like the more nailed pick. I feel like Aston Villa is the better team. So if you're convinced Leon Bailey's made his way into the first 11, which is tough because there's a fair amount of competition in terms of Watkins and Ings and Bailey, and even Bundia is in that team. So it depends on what you think happens there. Naishal is asking me if we wanted to draft content. We don't really cover drafts. None of us are focused and we don't play draft games at the moment. So yeah, not going to be doing any draft content at the moment. I'll see if I can get somebody who's into drafts to do content on our channel, and we'll take it from there. Quintus has asked me rate my 8 million mids in order. If you don't have a Spurs attacker, Kulusevski is number 1 for me. If not, Luis Diaz is the one I'd go for. And I just don't know what's happening with Foden at the moment. So we'll know in the Community Shield. Raghav's asked me, what about the link to join the Discord? If you become a member of our Patreon, or if you become a YouTube member, you will get access to our Discord. They will show you the link and you can join through that. So yeah, worth mentioning that we've started a Patreon. We've got about 110, 120. The Patreon channel is quickly getting busier and busier by the day. So it's worth your time if you want to interact with us throughout the season. And yeah, I think I really want to keep it very short. So actually Pranav's asked me why not Ramsdale instead of Mendy. That's a great point actually, because I don't have any Arsenal defense coverage. Arsenal look like they're in a really good place at the moment. They're really settled. So I could actually go Ramsdale instead of Mendy if I'm going for a 5 million keeper. Right. That's it for me. I'm just going to click on end stream because I wanted to do a very, very short video. Before that, let's just get our DSG sponsor videos in.
DreamSetGo is India's first sports travel and experiences platform, offering a range of premium end-to-end authentic experiences across football, cricket, tennis, F1, rugby and golf, among others. From matchday hospitality to VIP stadium tours, from private meet and greets with athletes and legends to exclusive access to their training sessions, DreamSetGo curates the most fulfilling sports travel packages for fans like you.
Right. Let me just put this back on my draft page. And everything that you see on the podcast in terms of statistics is from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. If you want a member, become a member by clicking on the link in the description below. If you're clicking on our link, you're actually helping us out. So if you're going to become an FFS member, which you should, just click on our link so you're helping us as well. Happy to hear your feedback in the comment section if you'd like me to do more solo streams as well. Zoff just taught me this Tuesday and actually just wanted to start practicing as well. So happy to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And I'm going to click on end stream now. Thank you so much for being with me, and apologies for not being that great. It's my first stream trying things solo. So yeah, we'll see you on Tuesday or Wednesday. Bakkar's not going to be joining us for the midfielder spot. We're trying to get a guest in. Hopefully Tom Freeman joins us. Let's see where we are. Take care, guys.